It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio with us today. A member of the Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team in studio with us. I think it's our third show this year with YCSRT. Just kind of getting a feeling for each division that we have, that when there is a search and rescue necessary, that these different groups of men and women go out and look for us when we're lost. And Craig Stevens is in studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I don't think you've actually sat in studio before, but you've been here while we've done some of the shows in the past.
Yes, I saw one of the other unit members.
Craig is with the mounted unit. You're the manager for the mounted unit for the
Correct,
Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team.
Yes.
Which is horseback.
It's all on horseback. And we have a group of about 10 qualified equestrians, experienced equestrians, and we train once a month. And we're always looking for experienced horsemen to be part of our group and to be ready for call out when the sheriff department needs us.
Okay, all right. And the phone number for Craig is 300-2723. Website is ycsrt.org. Before we get into the mounted patrol, and I asked you this just before the show, we had 5-year-old Gerald Joseph Williams die. He was the focus of a search, 5-day, 4-night search starting last Thursday. He disappeared from camp, and then he was found Monday afternoon, 8.6 miles away from camp. As the road rides, but as the crow flies, it was 3.7 miles away from camp. And I was asking Craig if you could maybe address some of the differences in searching for a child as opposed to, say, myself, an adult. Because when I have been talking to Jerry Blair with the Coconino County Sheriff's Office, he had said that, you know, children are unique. When a child goes lost, it brings up different challenges, and you can address this a little bit. But I was mentioning that I had asked Jerry about stranger danger. You know, kids are taught, you know, if you hear, you know, if it's a stranger, you don't talk to strangers. And so he had remembered that there was a case where they were out searching for a child, and that child was hiding in bushes. Anytime searchers went by, he hunkered down, got quiet. Searchers would go by calling his name, but he would not respond back because of stranger danger. And then he brought up another scenario where there was a child that was lost in the woods, and it happened to be nighttime when the search was taking place, and the searchers all had those little headlamps, those one-eyed headlamps walking around. They're saying his name, and they can, you know, and that child also got really quiet. He thought there was some kind of alien invasion going on. So is there a difference out there when it comes to that?
Well, there is. In regards to the children, I think you've had interviewed the search dog people, and they have a program called Hug a Tree, and it's tailored to kids from 5 to 11, I believe, where hug a tree meaning stay put. Don't try to figure out where you want to go and where home is. If that search had that scenario where that little boy, that 5-year-old, stayed next to a tree, he probably would have been found. Yeah,
you've got to wonder, had he gone through that training that we did do a show, Hug a Tree and Survive. Had he been through that little class, he would have had that little orange whistle, the little orange tarp.
All of those things,
right.
And that educational process is crucial for a child of that age. But yes, there is a different search criteria, I guess is the best way to say it, a child versus an adult.
Okay.
Like we talked about, an adult wants to get found.
Right.
Wants to get back and is going to do whatever he can.
Yeah, if I hear Craig screaming my name, Paul, I'm going to respond back.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So he's going to do whatever he can, and his habits or ways are different than a child. He might walk further. He might do some things that a child won't do physically. So there are different training procedures about a child as well as somebody who might be mentally disabled, somebody with dementia and so forth. So there are different ways of handling the search. And I think the terrain has a lot to do with it, significant difference in the terrain. Horses are a great resource because you're sitting up higher and all of those reasons. So that's important. I believe that the area that was searching up in Jacob Lake was extreme heavy brush cover.
That's what I heard too.
It was almost impassable to walk through. They had a line search up there with people standing arm's length from one another, and they just couldn't push through the brush. On top of that, it was torrential rainstorms and mud and so forth. So the conditions were not ideal. But yes, searches are done for child, for adult, for all of those have a different ways of searching.
I would imagine it probably depends on the person too. If I'm the one lost, you're going to talk to my wife and family members and get to know who I am and adjust the search around that.
Exactly.
And here we've got Gerald, who's 3'6" tall.
Right.
Who would have thought he'd travel 8.6 miles down a couple of Forest Service roads and get that far away in such a short period of time? But he did travel quite a distance. Okay, I don't want to. Let's focus on the mounted unit now. Okay, let's switch back to the mounted unit. Thank you for that information right there. That was interesting. It's very interesting. How long have you been with the mounted unit for YCSRT?
A little over 2 years.
Okay.
And we have, I think we have 10 people, and we go through our training. We have a training once a month. It'll either be a training or a meeting in conjunction. And we have different things that we train on. The GPS unit and a compass are our two main tools that we use, other than the horse.
Right.
So we train using the GPS. That is crucial to understand how that GPS unit works, how it works in a line search in conjunction with a compass to stay on a bearing or a heading and everybody going in the same direction. Map reading, that is another area of training that's crucial, and how a compass relates to the map and how you can take map information and put it into a GPS unit. All of those tools are crucial, so we practice a lot with that.
Okay, and you have 10 people and everybody has their own horse, right? It's not like we're borrowing horses for this.
No, you can't do that, no. Everybody has to have their own horse. You have to have your own horse trailer, you have to be mobile, and the horse has to be, I guess the term is broke. The horse has to be well trained and accustomed to being in a wilderness area, off trails. We very seldom do we follow a trail. I mean, we're pushing through brush, we're going through pine trees or wherever the terrain is. The horse has to be accustomed to that. So this isn't a horse training mission, you're utilizing the horse as a tool. So that's another criteria. The only tools that we require a member to have is the horse, a trailer, and a GPS unit. Everything else, as far as orange shirts and maps and all of that, is provided by YCSRT. But got to have a horse, and it has to be a calm horse, because sometimes we might have a helicopter overhead, and we don't need to have a little rodeo going on while that's going.
Sure, stormy weather.
Stormy weather. Generally, if you have been riding in northern Arizona long enough, you're going to be involved in a thunderstorm, which is not a good situation. But usually horses, thunder and lightning, they might get a little excited, but they're not going to go crazy. But yes, you need a calm, well-trained horse to stand still when you want him to stand still, to go down into steep terrain. So he has to be a well-trained animal. I
guess so. Well, let's take our first break, okay? Craig Stevens is in studio with the mounted unit for the Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team. Website is ycsrt.org. They are looking for more folks to join the mounted unit. Phone number for Craig is 300-2723. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the mounted unit for the Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team. Craig Stevens, the manager in studio today. Phone number for him again, 300-2723. If you've got a nice, calm, easygoing horse, you'd like to talk to them.
That exactly. A calm, easy horse is crucial. Mm-hmm. The horse that I use for search work, his name is Robin. Robin, and
okay.
He's a Missouri Foxtrotter. And he had been, I've only had him for a few months because the horse that I had been using was a little bit too hyper. He's great for trail work, climb a mountain in a minute, but he wouldn't stand still, and he wanted to move faster than everybody else. So I had to get something that was a little more appropriate for search work, because we're not in a hurry. We're trying to be thorough. Mm-hmm. And so doing that, you're looking at the ground, you're looking at where you're going, making sure your heading is the right direction. And so you need a horse that is listening to you, that has good ground manners. And I was fortunate to get Robin from a friend who had put that horse through several years of ground training. Ground manners is another way of putting it.
Ground manners, okay.
If you ask the horse to stop, he'll stand there and not move a muscle until you give him instructions to move on.
Wow.
Because you have your hands full. You have a handful of reins, and you have a GPS unit, and you have a radio, and you might have a map. So you're taking things in and out of your saddlebag and using all of these tools, and you don't need to deal with a horse's bad attitude at the same time. Mm-hmm. Right. So having a calm, well-trained horse is really an advantage to doing your job.
That's pretty amazing.
And so. Has
Robin been out on any searches?
He's been on a couple.
Yeah, and then the training, of course.
And
as
on
well.
training, and he's calm and not fast, and he's just a very willing animal, and so it makes my job a lot easier, much more efficient.
Good friend, I imagine.
He's a good friend.
You said before the show, and I don't want to forget about this and not talk about it, but while you're searching for someone, you're watching robins too. What Robin is picking up on, right?
That is one of the advantages of having the equestrians. Their ability to focus or hear something out there, something that's unusual. It might be a deer or an animal of some kind, or it might be a person. But if there's something they can sense, they can smell, they have extraordinary eyesight and hearing. And when you're on the horse, if you're going, at a medium pace, and all of a sudden he slams on the brakes, and I didn't ask him to stop, he will stop and he'll focus on something. I look at his ears, and I can see the exact direction, and his ears are like little radars, mm-hmm. and I can see that he sensed something is out there. Something is out there. You're not sure what it is, but you better check it out, because he has told me there's something out there to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So
is he always right?
He is always right.
Always right.
He's always right. Okay. It might not be interesting to me, but it is to him. But if there's a child, or if there's movement in the bushes, or something darts by, it'll catch his attention. I might not see it. It might be so far away that it's way out of my vision or hearing ability, but it's not his. So it's incredible, their ability of scent, eyesight, and hearing. And there has been studies made, and there's quite a bit of it on the internet, on how horses have the ability as well or sometimes greater than search dogs or scent dogs. They have trained horses that I've read, and I'm not sure how to do it, but they've proven that horses can find people if given the scent. They had a study in a 30-acre pasture where somebody would hide out in the pasture, and the rider would get on the horse and just drop the rein, leave it a loose rein, and he will go and find that person. Based on the scent. Based on the scent.
Wow.
So how to use that as another tool, I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. I'm trying to obtain more information about it, but it is a viable resource.
That'd be amazing.
It would be.
Now, Robin, how old is Robin?
11.
11 years old, okay.
Yes.
And how long does a horse typically live?
30.
30 years, okay.
Yes.
So, Robin, when you take him out, and this is probably going to be one of those common sense things, but I've just got this question in my head. Say you ride in the Verde Valley, you've got that type of terrain you're riding Robin through, and then say you're over in Prescott on the Bradshaws, riding Robin. It's different types of terrain. How long can you be on Robin and be out in the field conducting a search before you have to think about what Robin needs to,
well, there would be
well-being?
The temperature, how hot it is, if it's hot, dry, if the terrain, if it's super steep, super rocky, a real heavily rock-strewn mountain, that horse is going to exert a lot of energy.
Okay.
They can go, quite a long time without water. I'm not talking days, but I mean, he'd be out all day long, and when he comes back, he'll be thirsty. But you could probably do a search easily for 4 to 6 hours without having to stop and take a break.
Okay.
All depends on the terrain and the temperature is mainly it. We don't carry a lot of gear. We have what we call our Go Pack, which is survival equipment, and the GPS and extra batteries and all of that and so forth that are in our saddlebags. But they're not carrying a lot of weight, and we're not riding hard. But if we're in steep, rocky terrain, it can sap their energy, and you can sense it, you can feel it, you know when to back off.
Oh yeah. I imagine so, huh? You get pretty familiar with Robin and probably know him pretty well.
Exactly.
Well, you're still working with him, but...
He's relatively new, but I've ridden him enough to know his tendencies. And my other horse is a little bit bigger and quite a bit stronger, and so I have to back off a little bit, knowing that Robin can't quite perform some of the strenuous trails and rides that the other horse can do. So knowing your animal is really crucial.
What's this other horse's name?
My other one is Chester.
Chester, okay.
Yeah.
So we got to give Chester a name. We can't just call him the other horse.
Or the other person, no. He's 18 years old, and I've had him since he was 4.
Awesome.
And, good horse.
Let's take our other break. Craig Stevens, mounted unit for the Yavapai County Search and Rescue Team in studio today. They are looking for volunteers to join. The number is 300-2723. Website ycsrt.org. Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Craig over here. Can't believe the show's almost over already. Pretty painless, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's good.
Pretty painless. That's right. 300-2723 is the phone number. ycsrt.org is the website. Now, we talked about the fact you want a nice, calm horse. People, what if I apply, what kind of application process am I going to be going through to become a mounted unit member?
On the YCSRT website, there is a link to where you can download a form. And it's a questionnaire. The Yavapai County Sheriff is going to do an extensive background check. They're going to want to make sure that you are a qualified person. So after you fill that application out, you take it up to the Sheriff's Department in Prescott. They'll do a fingerprint card, and they will process that application. Once that application has been processed, it's mandatory that you attend the SAR Academy, the Search and Rescue Academy, and it usually happens once a year, usually in March, and it's a 2-day event up in Prescott, and they go through all of the, in general terms, the search procedures, the policies. They talk about the GPS units, they talk about bloodborne pathogens, diseases, and all of the things that we could encounter.
That's pretty interesting.
And they touch upon how to track a person and how to preserve evidence and all of those facets that we run into. So that is essentially it. The people that we are looking for are, for the mounted unit, are a qualified horseman that are willing to make a commitment. There are procedures and policies and trainings and so forth that we all have to adhere to. Mm-hmm. So that's who we're looking for.
And you mentioned before the show, and we'll throw this in the last 20 seconds we have here, that if I'm going to do this and I get a call from you, it's got to be a yes or no. Can you show up or not show up? And then you've got to be there.
Yes.
Okay.
The incident command would give each manager of the YCSR team a call, and for some reason the calls usually arrive at 3 in the morning. Mm-hmm. He would call me, I need a mounted unit, can you help me? And so then I would go down our list of our mounted unit people, make phone calls, and they know, just give me a yes or no answer. Yes, I can be there tomorrow morning, or no, I can't, because I got to get on to the next one to assemble a group, then get back to the incident command saying, I have 5 riders that can be at such and such address tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. And that's usually how it goes. I usually don't even know what the search is about. Mm-hmm. They give me an address or an area that the incident command is going to be, and we show up, and we go through that process.
Craig Stevens, great to have you in studio.
Thank
you so much. Number again, 300-2723. Website is ycsrt.org. That's today's Countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.